Hey, you guys. So the bitchy witch is back. Because I was having this discussion with Spirit right now, and I'm just like, I can't constantly take the high road. And listen, I'm the first one that's like, don't be a victim, don't be a victim. So I'm not saying this to be a victim. I'm just saying, like, I just feel like you get to a point where you're like, what the fuck? It's just like, I can handle this and I can handle that. And I get that Mercury's, about to go full retrograde in a few days or whenever they have me post this. For me, it's in a few days. And I get that the full moon in Pisces is coming. Man, we felt her energy yesterday. But I'm just so tired of people, like, the ignorance, the full disclosure. Okay, so we're off grid, right? And my poor husband's been like going to get water like every day, and it's too much. And now we've got enough containers that it was like every few days he was, but we need water to drink and we need water to wash. Okay. And water to drink can be more expensive. So long story short, I was like, maybe we just need to get a water dispenser, So I have been looking for stuff for sale on Craigslist and looking for things for free, because we've got all this big change and transition. There's a big hold on the house. Nobody's done any work on the house in weeks. I'm like trying not to be an asshole or be pushy. I'm doing everything to have patience. I actually shot 2 shorts. I don't know when Spirit's going to have me post them, but I pulled a card the other day because I said to Spirit, I'm like, I need something. I need something. And, oh, you know what? And maybe some light. Maybe some light. Maybe some sunshine. That's my pants. I was like, what I said? I'm like, oh, it's my tie on my pants. But yeah, so just things, it's just kind of been like one thing after the other. And basically we bought this water dispenser with 3 jugs and a stand from this guy for like $60. He had it online for like a month. And I tried to offer him 50, and he kind of pushed back and was like, it's in mint condition. He's like, it's like brand new. I got it from this, it's like this organic, like healthy place. Like it's, he's like, 2 of the water bottles are still full. It's, local Olympic spring water. It's really good. He's like, these are really good. This is a really good deal. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I researched it, and, it was maybe going to be $20 more to buy our own, but then we'd have to like either have it shipped, or we were going to have to go and get it, like drive about an hour to the nearest store that had the one that I wanted that was it for the sale price, So the guy's like, oh no, it works great. Everything's great, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So I asked Alder I actually said, I go, come and get me and we'll go and get it. I said, unless you're just like after work, you just want to go and get it. I'm like, don't worry about it. And he was local, that's why I bought it too. I was like, okay, we can have it, today. So he brings it home. And the guy sends me a text, and I can just tell from his text, he's just kind of smarmy and kind of like, I could feel his ego. That's the thing that sucks, that I can feel other people's energy. I love it, but I don't in some ways, because, someone could be telling me one thing and I'm like, I know what you really are. You know what I mean? And I've been in many situations like that. But if I had been there, I know for sure, because I'm an inspector, I would have looked it over and made sure everything was good. He shows it, or I go in to clean it, and the fucking spigot is cracked on the inside. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, son of a bitch. And Alder's like, well, it's not that big of a deal. We can replace it. I go, we shouldn't have to replace it. I go, I could have bought a fucking new one for, for $20. Like we could have, we wouldn't have to deal with this. And in my experience, whenever you try to replace a spigot, it tends to leak. Like if it's not like the first original seal. Anyway, whatever. So, yeah. And he's like, well, maybe nothing will happen. So we put the water in there, everything's fine. And then and it was perfect. And we're like, okay, you know what? Yeah, maybe it's just not that big of a deal. We'll just keep an eye on it and whatever. So then, a little while later, he goes, hey, there's water dripping from there. And I'm like, what? So yeah, So he sold us a faulty thing. Now, this guy is like some local musician. Like he's kind of a local famous musician. And like his band has like a member from like a band like Chicago, the band Chicago. Like I guess like the drummer or something plays for his band. and and so, I kind of could sense through his text that he was kind of a blowhard, and I was like, whatever, dude, like that's your thing. I don't know. I just want the fucking container, because, and the weird thing was Spirit wasn't giving me a yes or a no. It was kind of like a, if you want to, or like a maybe kind of thing. And I was like, what? And I was like, there's something about it that's off. And I was like, well, if it's his energy, I'm like, I'll just clean it. And, because even when I was cleaning it and washing it, I was like blessing it and thanking Spirit for this beautiful new water vessel that we were going to have. Water's very precious. And all this. But I kept feeling like something was off, and I just couldn't figure out what it was. See, but I didn't ask the right questions. I didn't say, is there something wrong with it? I don't think I asked that, because then Spirit would have said yes, and I would have figured it out, and then we would have passed on the sale. Because they have dispensers, like we could have paid even a little bit more and got one that's like really cute. Like I saw one that had like deer on it, like a forest scene. I started looking on Amazon and seeing like all these different, cool dispensers. So now I realize we weren't ripped off in terms of like, the water's still good and like the container is beautiful. It was really, really clean. But the stand, he's like, it was a year old. I'm like, there's no fucking way that stand's a year old unless you like kicked it every day and like beat the shit out of it, because it was like really beat the shit. So yeah. So now I have to put something under there because it's dripping. So losing water, I mean, I can use it. I can use it, to wash things, I guess, whatever. But I don't know. It's like, but there's dust in here and just the gross shit that's on the floor, it's going to collect in there. It's like, what am I going to really use the water for? I guess maybe I'll water my plants with it. But either way, I was just like, you know what? Don't fucking tell me something's top notch. Be on the up. If he had said there's a crack in it, it leaks just a little bit, but it's not too bad, then I would have been like, cool, I'll give you $40 for it. Because that's what it's worth. It's worth $40 because we found out that the water is really good around here. But for those 2 full waters and 1 empty thing, it's like, no, dude, come on. And the worst part is Alder goes to his house and the dude's fucking rich. He's totally rich. And I'm just like so sick of people's shit, So at first I was going to let it go, but he had texted me and said, your husband's a really nice man, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't text back because it was late and my phone had died. And then yesterday we had company and I was like, cooking and doing stuff and cleaning and food prep and everything all day. I made the most amazing food yesterday. Oh, I made these polenta cakes with black beans, spicy black beans, and avocado. And I made a beet greens and kale with beet salad. And then I made a tomato and basil salad. And I made homemade chocolate sauce, and we had chocolate dipped strawberries and a mango. It was so good. It was really, 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 really good, actually. And everybody was like, oh my God, this food's so good. I was like, yeah, man. I'm like, I forgot. And I did all that in this tiny little kitchen. Anyway, I don't mean to be a bratty victim. I know I hear myself and I sound like a big baby. But I had a really good time yesterday, actually. And I really enjoyed, I'm a foodie. I love working with food. And it was nice to like see, like all of a sudden, like everybody was really quiet. And I said, well, my dad was a chef. And I said, he always said, like a quiet table's a happy table. And everybody was like, holy shit, dude, this food's so good. I'm like, yay. So it was really fun. Give myself a little, accolade. Still, this little girl still got it. But yeah, I just like, so today I started to text him. And I'm going to send it. I just don't know when or how, because I researched him further and he's like the head of his like music at his fucking church and all that. And I'm like, I knew anyway, because he was like, I'm having lunch with the pastor, blah, 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 blah. So I can't, it's like, why would you even say, like, who fucking cares? I don't fucking know you, dude. Why do I fucking care? It's like, I can't take that anymore. There's like, that's the thing on the planet that's driving me crazy. It's like the name droppers, oh, my friend's best friends with so-and-so and blah, blah, blah. It's like I know I talk about things sometimes too, but like this was my life and things that happened, like when people tell me a story about a celebrity, like seventh hands over, where it's like has nothing to do with them whatsoever, but they're telling it as if it happened to them, like that, but they're doing it for an ego purpose. I'm just like, I don't know what you need right now or what you're missing that you need that, but like, sure, I'll bite, like I'll be here, I'll listen. So I kind of knew when I saw it, like, let's put it this way, something in me told me like not to get it from him, but I wanted it and we needed water. And I was just like, I didn't feel like driving an hour to get it or waiting, a week to get a water dispenser. We were only supposed to be in here 2 weeks. It's been almost 6. And, I'm going back to like feeling like I'm back in Big Camper, except for at least with Big Camper, we had running water and electricity. This is like starting to wear me thin. I have not had water or electricity since June 28th. It is now September 6th. That's a long fucking time. And, I'm being as patient as I can. Oh, that's what I was going to say. So when I pulled cards, when I was like really freaking out the other day, the card I pulled was Perseverance. So the shorts that I'm going to be doing, 1107 is the angel number. I'll have to look that up. Maybe it's a little spanking from Spirit to tell me stop being such a brat. But anyway, the card I pulled from the Making Magic Oracle deck was Perseverance. And when I went to put it away, Spirit's like, no, everybody kind of needs this right now. So I did a few different readings, a few different shorts for it, because there's 3 different sections. I think they only had me keep 2, though. The one I felt, and I think Spirit and I were both like, meh. It was really more for me. Anyway, so it's interesting. So yesterday, one of Alder's cousins was here, George. He's so amazing. And he said, I had him go, they went up and looked at the cabin together, and I said, what do you think, should we hang in here? Is it worth it? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, you're going to have a lot of perseverance because there's still no kitchen, still no bathroom, like nothing's finished. And, we were supposed to be in here by September 1st. And I know they say it always takes twice as long, but it's just like everything's starting to wear me thin, like living like this and just like I'm doing my best. I'm doing my due diligence. I love my spirit work. I love you guys. I love this channel. I feel like you guys are like my best friends, and I'm so grateful. Thank you. You're all, you send me such loving, supportive messages, and you post things down here and send me gifts and stuff, and it really helps. And thank you to Anna and Jessica, because you helped pay for the water, dispenser. I'm just frustrated that it's happening like this. And I love my husband, because we both have this thing where when one of us is really like kind of spiraling out, we give each other some positive, things. And he goes, well, look at it this way. He goes, it could be a little water dish for Bubba. He's like, she'll constantly get water. And I looked at him, I go, I love you so much right now. Because I know he's right, like, and that is how we have to look at things, right? Like, that's what I said about these bitchy witch segments. It's like, it's about me to kind of bitch about like people and things, and then I am going to send the text, because he may not know that it drips, and he may not know, but I just told him, I was just like, just an FYI. Like, I didn't say like, looks like you're a rich motherfucker and, blah, blah, blah. I just said FYI, and like, my family and I are like living off the grid, and this is our only water vessel. Like, this is to like wash our dishes, to wash our face, to everything, to drink. And, it's like I asked him if it had any flaws or anything. He said no. And maybe he didn't notice it. And maybe, whatever. But he should know about it, because, it's all fun and games to be like, oh, I'm the big man on campus. Look at me. I'm having lunch with the pastor. Like, and me, I'm like, who fucking cares? Because I could care less about religion or pastors or whatever. It's like, so what? I'm a fucking, like, so I'm like, so you just shit on a shaman. Like, I don't call myself a shaman, but am I a shamanic healer? Yes. So I'm glad whatever. It's like, he's like, give me that. And I'm like, but you don't realize that, like, who I am and what I am. And actually his church probably wouldn't even recognize what I am or who I am or what I do or what my work is here or whatever. And that I only drink water, and that I've got shungite. In fact, I want to put some other crystals in there. You know what I mean? Like, I've made it into a healing vessel of water. So whatever. I know it's fine. It's fine at the end of the day. I know it's just money, but it's just, it's like right now, it's like I don't have rugs. There's so many things we don't have, because we lived in Big Camper for 6.5 years. So a 26 by 10 foot space, we didn't have furniture. We didn't have, we have whatever was in there. And we have a few things in our storage that we've been collecting here and there, but you know, um, and he offered for us to keep the furniture in there, but it's no. You know what I mean? Like there's two pieces. There's two pieces that if it's cool spirit will keep. But even so, I'm gonna have to air them out for the longest time because the energy is so fucked up. I'm gonna have to smudge them. You know, I just feel like here's the thing. If I knew for sure that we were gonna own that, and this is my controlling coming in, I hear it. I know this is my human. This is my muggle. You know, it's like if I knew for sure that we were gonna own this at some point, this conversation wouldn't even be happening. Maybe the water part, because that's just pissing me off. And I'm going to text him because a part of me was like, I'm just going to let it go. And then I thought, no, I just think that people should know. And even if he didn't do it on purpose, it's like if he offers to give us money, I'm going to be like, fuck yeah, drive back over there and get some money from him. Because I think that's shitty. If that were me, I'd want to know. If I didn't notice it and someone was like, it's leaking, I'd be like, oh man, I am so fucking sorry. I really didn't know, you know? And what can I do? You know, what can I do? Because we used the water, you know, so we needed water. That was the whole point. We were going to go and buy water, but I was like, well, why would we buy water when we can get these, you know, because this water that these containers, if you bring it back to the place, it's only $4.25 for 5 gallons of local fucking Olympic mountain spring water. Fuck yeah, I want that water. You know, it's delicious. It's actually some of the best water I've ever had in my life. So, you know, we've already gone through it. We got it from him Saturday night. I cleaned it out yesterday, but we only had the 2 5 gallons. So I had to use that water to soak my vegetables, to do my dishes, to, you know, brush our teeth, to drink. And now it's almost out. So Alder had to take the other ones and he's going to have to go, you know, and our whole point is we're trying to collect more so that we can get like maybe 5 of them. So we have, you know, so he only has to go once a week and we have 25 gallons of water and we can, it's the interesting thing is it's really made me realize like how much water we use and how much, I used to love to hear the sound of water. Sometimes when I was doing the dishes, like I'd let the water, you know, run, but we're really, really good about water. But I just like I like that sound, you know? So when I do dishes, it's like, you know, when I'm, you know, I don't leave it running the whole time, but you know what I mean? Like, anyway, so this point, it's like, you know, now I'm like, you know, only using a little bit of soap because you realize like, you know, and then I started to get wise about what can I do? Like, can I just wipe this plate off? I don't really need to wash this plate. So if anything, it's definitely like made me look at how much waste we all go through every, um, you know, just so many things like that. Anyway, I didn't mean to go on and on and on and you know, whatever, but I don't know when I'm gonna send the text. I don't think now is good because I'm feeling kind of angry about it. Maybe I'll be like, hey, you know, I let this go a few days, but I'm a little frustrated, and you know, and then he can respond however he wants to respond. If he's a prick about it, then I'll be like, yep, that's who you are, and it doesn't matter if you go to fucking church and you go to fucking lunch with the preacher, and you know what I mean. Or he may be like, I'm so sorry. You know, is there something I can do? Why don't you guys pop back? I'll give you $20. I'm sorry about that. And if that, then I'll be like, cool. Then I don't care. Be your ego self. I don't have to ever have to know you again. You know, whatever. That's who you are. Cool. But I'm just done. I'm done with empty promises. I'm done with empty bullshit. I'm done with people fucking opening their mouths and nothing valid is coming out unless it's like, you know, and let me tell you something. The reason why is, have you ever heard the saying, there's nothing worse than an ex-smoker? Well, that's because when you're smoking and you're like, oh, you don't care, you just want to smoke your cigarettes. You don't even realize it, you know, that you stink and that your hands smell. Maybe you notice your hands smell, but I know because I used to smoke. But once I quit smoking, oh, I literally was like I couldn't stand the smell of it. Whether it was the smoke itself or just anything, I just couldn't stand the smell of it. Um, but I feel like it kind of applies to everything, right? I used to be an asshole. I used to be an egomaniac. You know, it's like, you know, the karma's coming back at me through other people. But I will say this, I would never do something like that. Even, you know, I always was a good person. You know what I mean? I might have been the ego thing came from being the youngest and that nobody ever gave a shit about what I thought or what I did or where I went or you know what I mean? And if I wanted to be taken seriously, I had to put myself into the conversation and say it, you know? And then I moved to Los Angeles in my early 20s where, you know, I had to be that way because if I wanted to make it, I had to constantly be selling myself, plugging myself. It was just like such a weird, and then I moved back to the Midwest in my 30s and I was like, wow, it was almost like I had to like deprogram, and it took me a while. And then I, went back to college when I was 37 and then moved to, the Pacific Northwest when I was 39, and now I'm 50. And now the last decade or more, I've been really working on that and trying to rid myself of that, or being the victim, or, and I'm not mad because I said to Alder, I'm like, did you even look at it? He's like, no. I'm like, and I realized because I didn't say like, make sure you inspect it. He would have. But this guy was all like, no, it's fucking perfect. Everything's great. And let me tell you something. I put that little jar under there. Hold on. I wanted to see how much water was in there since I did it. But I put that little jar under there, or like a little bowl under there. I don't know, about a half an hour ago. And the bowl's like this big. And there's like this much already. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's just wasteful. Because like when you realize, when you're paying, really, it's one thing like you pay your water bill or whatever, but like when you're paying for, like we have to seek out the water and pay for it and bring it to our house. Yeah, every fucking drop is going to count. And it should count anyway, whether you have your water bill or, and I feel like conservation is something that is something we all really need to think about and talk about. And I think it's interesting because it's somebody like that wants money. And I said to Alder, I go, you know why he wants that? He sent me like, he told me like where he got it and everything. And I get it. He paid $120 for that particular container, that ceramic container, and that stand. He paid $120 for that when he bought it. He's like, $60 is a really good deal. You're getting the 3 containers. 2 of them have water, blah, blah. It's a really good deal. It's like in his mind. But I'm like, that's what you're never like, because I'm like, you obviously haven't had to deal with money issues for a long time, because I myself have been working hard my entire life. And, always like my parents were penny pinchers because my dad was one of 8. My mom was one of 6. So big families. They always were like, don't turn the water off, turn the lights off, all that. So it was like it was like a dire thing. And when you get older, you start to realize, and when you pay the bills, that you're like, yeah, that fucking shit costs money. That shit costs money. But even now, the way that the world is, we have to realize like water isn't just, it's like our waters are being polluted. Our land is being polluted, So yeah, all I drink is water. And I may have a cup, or maybe just recently I started drinking tea again. But for the most part, I only drink water. So I take my water very, 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 very seriously. And as we all should, our bodies are mostly made up of water, and the earth is mostly made up of water. It's ridiculous that our planet is in the disarray that it is. So, be mindful of like what you're throwing away and recycling and all that. And, are you somebody that, pulls a tissue and you're like, oh, and like throws it, or it's like, or do you like, I reuse it, I will reuse something. Now I'm not saying like everyone should be like me, but like I try to do like corner per corner. Like I try to use one corner and then I like whatever, it'll dry. Maybe that's gross to some people, but you know what, I'm like, my dad used to carry around a handkerchief all the time and wash his handkerchiefs. My father was like, I've been thinking about doing that again. But I just think we need to get more, we need to think more about like how we're using things and being wasteful, and what we can and can't recycle. And, just because you have money doesn't give you the right to like that, like this dude. I don't know his story. I don't know his history, but well, I do a little bit because I researched him. He's been a working musician for a long time. He's probably like in his 60s. And he's semi-famous in the jazz community, and he's a teacher too. So he's, Alder said he met him at his studio on his property. You know what I mean? So it's like, really, do you really need my $60? Because I need that fucking $60. And if I didn't need the nice big fancy one, but I wanted that one. And he's assured me that it was good. Is it our fault that we didn't look at it? Yeah. So we got what we paid for. The whole thing all the way around. That's why Spirit was like, my pendulum was like, it kind of wasn't yes, it wasn't no. It was just kind of like, well, there's multiple factors. Like, I just kind of got that. But I was like, I'm going to press on with this. And I've been doing that. And then today, Alder and I had a come to Jesus moment with him too, where I said, you know what? I'm like, just because we love it here, I'm like, so we have to be realistic. I said, we just really have to be realistic. And yesterday we were really blessed because his cousin came over here, and he's also very spiritual. And he said that in meditation, Spirit told him to give us he has a travel van that he doesn't use anymore and he doesn't want anymore. And he said it just needs a new battery and a few things done on it. He's like, you know, because he knows we like to travel and go camping and stuff. And so I said to Alder, I'm like, who knows? I'm like, we may be getting that because this is going to fall through. I hope it doesn't. I really don't. I'm going to try and keep the peace and persevere as much as I can. But at the same time, I'm not getting too attached to things anymore because the world is a fucking, there's so much fuckery about. It's getting to the point where, because I'm out so much before, it's like I may see things online or maybe whatever, but this is different. Like every Saturday we've been doing this fun thing where we go to the farmer's market because it's amazing here. The food here is amazing. Seriously. There's some of the best fresh food I've ever had in my life here. It reminded me when I was in Europe. And so, you know, we do that and then we just drive around, like getting to know like the area and stuff. And so we've been going to yard sales and you know, garage sales and like meeting people. But then on top of that, like we've been going to the grocery stores, or we'll run here or we'll run there. We hardly ever eat out. But this place has a lot of really healthy restaurants. So we've, you know, spoiled ourselves. We went out. Well, we haven't actually eaten out. We've gotten takeout, but I'm just saying, like, you know, we're just going places all the time now, more than before, where it was like, you know, with the lockdown, especially, like we only left the house when we had to. And since I don't drive right now, my license has been expired for years, and it's been too expensive. It's like almost $400 to get your license in Washington because it's so close to the Canadian border. So it's, they have this new like system or whatever. Anyway, whatever. See, I just hear myself. I'm complaining. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. I'm just saying that, like, I just feel like in every turn, it's like they're trying to keep us down in one way or the other. And I just we don't need any more other fucking stuff bringing us down, pulling us down, or, you know, like, I'm glad we can help this family and they're helping us. But at the same time, I'm like, you know, why is their comfort more important than ours? I said, this is not easy for me. I told Alder today, I said, you're not the one that's doing it. I'm like, you may be getting the water. I'm like, but you're not the one trying to make food every single day and prepare. There's no counter space here. It's weird. I thought Big Camper was small. The kitchen in here is actually smaller than in Big Camper, even though this one is like 11 feet, you know, or 10 feet, something like that. You know, it's got a bedroom. But the kitchen is like so poorly made. There's literally no counter space. It's like a sink and a counter space like this big and a stove. The camper on the side had like this thing that you can pull up and it like clicked into place that was like an extension that was like another counter. This one doesn't have that. So, you know, it's just like the little things, you know. I never did mind the little things. But then the little things start to become, like, over time, right? They build and then they become big things, and then it's just stressful and it's just anyway, I'm sorry. So I'm going to end on a light note and say, on the positive side, we found this delicious water, and if we have to replace the spigot, then we have to replace the spigot, or we're just going to have to, you know, I don't want to put glue in there because it's our water vessel. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to put any type of glue in there, even if it's organic glue or whatever. I don't want to put anything in there. The only thing I want in there is my crystals. Grrr. I'm sorry. I wish I could end on a more positive note, but, you know, it's also because, you know, I'm a moon baby and the full moon is coming. And whenever the full moon is impending around a Mercury retrograde, I tend to be a little brattier. My Southside Chicago Kelly's just like, what the fuck? You know, I said to him today, I go, you know, I'm kind of, I mean, I know that's why Spirit put me there, is to make me tough so that I can handle this, because I'm such a sensitive empath and I can be a baby about a lot of things. But I also can endure a lot. You know, you don't sit and do this all in one day if you can't handle pain. So this bitch can handle pain. I'm just saying, you know, the bitchy witch is out because of all the fuckery. And, you know, dealing with other people's stuff can be really, 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 really tough. And like I said, if I knew we were going to own this house, I think I can handle it a little bit more, but I'm not handling it as well because, yeah. So there's that. Anyway, I'm trying to think if there's anything really positive I can say. Oh, so the positive is that, yeah, we're going to get this van from George. So that's really cool. And he's so cool. Talk about wanting to interview somebody. Thank you, Anna. I was thinking about that because George has MS and he was on the brink of death. And I remember because I was like, wait, is that your cousin George? The first time I met him a few months ago, I said, is that your cousin George that was dying of MS? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, what? He's like, oh, he's been healing himself. Even his doctors are like in shock. They're like, how are you still like alive? Because he had like a really like he was pretty far gone. Um, but he's walking. I mean, he's struggling and he's got his cane and stuff, but he's like walking and he can function and he drives and he's amazing. And he's an ex-addict who's helping all of these addicts. He lives in one of those houses like where you help the other you they help each other, stay sober and stuff. But now he's got this new job, and I wish him good fortune on that new job today. Wishing you good fortune, George. He has his last interview today, but where he'll be helping people coming out of jail to rehabilitate, because he was explaining like the system and the drugs and just like how they keep people in the system. It was really fucked up, actually. When he was telling us, I'm like, that's so fucked up. He goes, yeah, I know. So he and some other people in the county are working to help people get rehabilitated, because if they go to jail for drugs and they've lost everything and they've, whatever, but yet they're not going to help them to get off the drugs and they're not going to help them, it's like then they just end up on the street. And that's basically like what's happening. So it is ending on a positive note because George is bringing so much good and happiness. Like he's really trying to change the world. And those are the people that I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, you know? And I'm not going to judge the cafeteria Christian guy because maybe he didn't know. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't know. But either way, we'll see how he responds to it. I'll give you an update on my next Bitchy Witch, or maybe I'll just give an update and tell you whether or not he did anything about it. Because, you don't sell somebody. If he says something, because the other thing I could see him saying is, well, what do you want for $60 or something? And I'll be like, somebody who doesn't lie. So. Because when I was reading his bio, he's like, oh, my music is a gift from God. And he's like, I'm doing this for Jesus and all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, put your money where your mouth is, because a true fucking Christian and Jesus person would put their money where their mouth is. Because look at George. George is healing himself and he is trying to help other people heal themselves too. And I told him, I go, you're a fucking prophet, brother. I'm like, I'm so proud of you. I'm like, you're a very powerful spirit warrior. Like, that's amazing. That's amazing. He's not using a religion or some other thing as a crutch for his ego. It's not about getting the accolades or whatever. He genuinely just wants to help people. And that is a real gift. So until next time, thanks for listening to me bitch and moan and bitch. And as the moon gets closer, there might be another Bitchy Witch episode, but I guess we'll see. Ooh, and Blessed Waxing Crescent. We're so close. I'm going to get off. I'm going to do some fun stuff that makes me feel better, and I'm going to do a reading, so look out for that. Until then, take good care of yourselves and each other. I love you so much. Blessed be. Oh,